When did magazine come to an end?
81.
Right, and so how did you feel at that point?
I was able to deal with it better than I was when the St. Louis Union thing finished.
Because you were older?
I was older,
You'd been
yeah.
down that road before.
Yeah, and I realised that it didn't have to be the end, although I was very sad because it meant a hell of a lot to me. John Doyle and Barry Adamson, we decided to carry on playing together and ended up working with this American female singer, but it didn't actually come to anything as such.
Did it ever have a name?
Yeah, it was called The Greeks.
The Greeks?
The Greeks,
okay.
yeah.
Well, so Visage, when did you start doing Visage?
79, late 79.
So when magazine broke up in 81, you to a certain extent had a kind of
there was a
fallback
crossover
option.
There was, yes, but for all of us, it was always a bit of a real side issue. It was a hobby almost. That's how we kind of saw it. Because when we were originally approached by Rusty Egan, he was DJing at the Blitz with Steve and said, look, we want to play a lot of electronic music, but there's only a couple of bands in Europe that are doing stuff we can play at the club. So why don't we, we really like what you're doing and Billy's doing with Ultravox. Why don't we get together and make some electronic music? Because there's some demos time left at EMI. And that's how it started.
Right.
And and it just kind of built from that. But we made the album and it sat around for 12 months doing absolutely nothing. I'd kind of given up on it. Barry had left by then, had enough. And then kind of almost the next thing I knew, I was walking through Soho and by this time Ultravox's management had taken over with Steve Strange. And one of the managers, I was just looking like, good day, and I looked over the road, and there was one of the managers who said, you're #1 in Germany, single and album. Really? That's how much I knew of what was happening.
Sure.
It kind of all happened at the same time. Because we were with Polydor America, they must have had a really good distribution setup, and it all just started to happen. Memory is a little bit fuzzy on it, but yeah, it all happened around the same time. Because suddenly we started to get sales coming in on a weekly basis, all the countries. It was really exciting, all in columns of how many we'd sold each week, and it's like, why couldn't this happen with magazine?
So anyway, after Visage, what about after Visage? So when did Visage actually come to an end?
Well, effectively, 83, 84 really. I mean, I did a little bit more work with Rusty, Billy Curry and Steve on some new material, but then we all fell out over that, so that was that, end of that. So, but I'd worked with Howard on Jerky Versions of the Dream, which was his solo album on Virgin. So we toured that, recorded that and toured that for 18 months all over the shop. Then I joined Ludus, and we didn't work together then, Howard and I, till Luxuria, by which time I'd met Richard Boot in 84, and we built Strongroom recording studios. Which was an exciting time between 84 and me selling my
Still very
interest.
much an established
One of the few left, yeah.
Really, it's got all those nice little rooms. And so you made your first solo album?
Satellite Sweetheart, yeah.
And what year are we talking about now?
That came out in 2009.
2009.
So it was all around the time of magazine reforming.
Sure.
And because of Barry being on Satellite and Howard being on Satellite, everyone in magazine was on that album. It sort of opened the door up, really, to the reformation of magazine.
Sure.
It kind of opened the doors in that I'd not seen Barry or spoken to Barry in years, and then he asked me to play live with him at the Queen Elizabeth Hall. He was a composer in residence for London Jazz Week, so I played the Cat, Jimmy Smith, with a big band, which was fantastic for me.
Right.
Really exciting. Yeah.
Wow.
And then the guy that's done a lot of the promoting of magazine and is doing some of the dates, the new ones in November, got onto me and said, will you be doing any live dates with this solo album? I said, well, I'd love to. And then a couple of weeks later, he came back and said, any chance of a magazine reformation? So I said, absolutely not. We tried in 2005 and it didn't work. And he came back again and said, are you sure? So I said, hang on, there's something happening here. So we put a little bit of a proposal together and went to see everyone, and everyone said yes independently. So we all got together.
Amazing. And you got a new solo album?
Well, it's a collaboration, with a Canadian cello player and singer called Christine Hansen,
Right.
called The Organ of Corti.
Right. What is the organ of Corti?
The organ of Corti is part of your inner ear.
Right.
It's a mixture of quite atmospheric, ambient type tracks. I hate saying the word ambient, but I don't know how else to describe it. It's very dreamlike, some of it, but some of the others tracks are quite jazzy. Christine sings on 2 of them.
Well, that's brilliant. Thanks, Dave.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Pleasure. Okay, cheers.